Hi, it's Gary Kay. We're here at InfoComm 2022. We're here with Andrew Starks of Macnica and IPMX. Andrew, how are you?
I'm doing great. It's great to be back live and in person, face to face.
Yeah, actually, we saw each other at InfoComm in Orlando, so we're actually one of the few that trial run. There you go. All right, so how's the MPA 1000 going? That is your board reference design, I should say, board for IPMX, which is an AV over IP. It's the only proposed AV over IP standard based on SMPTE 2110. Yep. You have a product called the MPA 1000. Yep. Talk about that and how's it going?
It's going great. Well, yeah, as you know, as the MPA 1000 goes, so too does IPMX, or we're kind of correlated, right? Yeah. So as we've seen more manufacturers adopt IPMX, the interest in the MPA 1000 has just exploded. It's, people, they want to have products out when the standard is, ready, and when people start seeing products out there. And now that we're starting to see interoperability demonstrations, the product managers they're starting to call.
Well, I have a couple questions around that. When will the standard be sort of like ratified / adopted, or where are we with regard to that?
Yeah, so I would say that for a while now, anything that you wanted to do live production-wise, and still with a lot of the advantages that IPMX brings, you could build a product today, for sure. The core things that you've got to have, like great EDID support, HTTP, those kinds of things. Those have implementations that are made already. Those interoperability tests are undergoing. So we're really excited about where we're at. Now, when will we start seeing products that are IPMX interoperable, that kind of thing? I think that's going to be probably about a year. Okay. But I think that when are we going to see something that can go totally toe-to-toe? There's complete interoperability. There's CES, all those little things that you need in HDMI. I think that's going to probably be a little longer than that, maybe out to 18 months or something like that. But the nice thing about the way we're building these early products is that it's always a firmware upgrade away from being totally compatible when when everything's settled.
Well, in just the last 30 days, IPMX had picked up a lot of traction. Number one, Barco as an adopter of IPMX, QSC, which is the number 4, arguably number 4 control system company and video routing company, said they're part of IPMX as well, the Ames Alliance. And then you also picked up a few others, right?
Yeah, Lumens, Panduit. Oh man, you're going to ask me now. I'm going to feel terrible about it.
The point is,
but yeah, there's a lot of them coming. Right?
Yeah, the point is, you've got some big brands now coming on board.
Right.
Everyone knows that I've said all along that I think Crestron or AMX need to. I will say that one thing that's happening here at the show is the chip that Crestron uses in Tupix. They're doing a demo here at the show, showing IPMX working on the Intupix chip, from what I understand here. Is that correct?
I've not heard that at all.
I just got to release it. They're trying to
show. That's not the first time I've been blindsided, and I saw an advertisement. It's like IPMX. I'm like, oh, really?
That's what I heard. I heard that they're going to try to demonstrate that here at the show, and maybe even 8K. Talk about 8K for just a second. Or where are we with regard to 8K?
I mean, that's always been baked into IPMX. I mean, it's like HDMI. There's no set resolution, although there are standard ones, right? So IPMX is actually good for 32 by 32K, and it really just depends on your network bandwidth.
And bandwidth, right?
Right, exactly.
What kind of bandwidth?
Right.
What do we need to give as a minimum bandwidth for 8K?
See, I think the key, for 8K. Okay, you're putting me on the spot.
Minimum amount of compression.
Minimum amount, I would say you're probably going to need, very minimum be 2.5. Now, if you're doing something like H.265, well, then it's totally different, right? But if you're talking about something that's more like mezzanine subframe, I think your 2.5 would be very minimum, but probably more like 3 to 4.
Yeah, I was going to say 4 because then you'd have 4 what you're doing now with 4K. One of the things that I get asked a lot about is NDI, compatibility NDI on IPMX.
Well, I have not been shy about being a big fan of NDI and NewTek generally, but I think they've done, when you look at these kind of technologies, there's always that proprietary stage where somebody really innovates early, and I think NDI has shown the way in terms of making things accessible, and they've really just hit their target, really well. We've been in, I'll break a little, it's not really news, but we've been in conversations with them about how we can work better together. In fact, we're even in the AMWA group doing, there's a work group that's actually working on making sure you can see NDI streams on your network using the NMOS protocol. So yes, we can connect SC2110 and IPMX, but also now they're branching out to be able to see and control NDI devices as well. So,
and I think that will open up a world of like standardization, because even though NDI is not a standard, I mean, it is a platform adoption.
There certainly are an ecosystem, aren't they?
Totally an ecosystem.
And I wonder too, I mean, I wonder out loud, like what would happen if, there was an open standard and their ecosystem supported it, right? I mean, because there's a lot of value in what, and how...
they're doing a ton of compression, but the applications that they're serving, it makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. The thing that's nice about their codec is just how fast it is on software, right? And I think that when you try to look to that codec and push it to doing like desktop video, it's not going to work out for you. But when you're doing video, it's been really fantastic.
You just want to pull it up in a browser and make it simple to look at. Yeah. So the MPA 1000 obviously is IPMX ready. Yep. It has all the features and function, and it is firmware upgradable. So as you add new function, add new features, add new compatibility, you already have it in there.
And I'll point out that the ME10 is basically, this is what most people are interested in. Yeah. We found out. Yeah, they want the chip. And so basically our MPA 1000 has been... Yeah, exactly. Well, we provide those. They like the reference designs, but they want the chip to be on their main board, and that's part of the story too. But the MPA 1000 is a module we first kind of announced, and it's really become kind of like a dev kit product more than anything. But yeah, exactly though, the ME10 is field upgradable, and that's the whole thing, is that you want to be able to follow the standards along. Right now, you can make a product that's going to be IPMX ready when it's done, but once the standards are going, we'll be able to flash the firmware and keep that product compatible as the standard evolves.
Yeah, and what you're ultimately going to see, for those of you who are kind of wondering, is you'll see companies like Barco and others put this as an onboard chip for compatibility with everything AV over IP. That kind of an application, right? Yeah. QSC, whoever the brand might be, because you give them access to the SMPTE 2110 ecosystem.
Right, and we're showing this chip interoperating with other people's implementations, and that's the cool thing about IPMX. It's not just that we're able to have interoperable products between manufacturers, but there's actually different implementations that are working and receiving each other's signals just like it's supposed to be,
Yeah, and that's all based on the SMPTE 2110 standard. If you want to learn more, you can Google AIMS Alliance or go to aimsalliance.org, AIMSalliance.org.
Or
of course,
IPMX.io.
IPMX.io as well. And of course, Macnica.com. You should check them out as well, MACNICA.com. Andrew, thanks for joining me. I appreciate it.
Can I add one more thing?
Yeah.
MacnicaTech.com.
Macnica Tech. Okay, Macnica Tech. That's right, because Macnica is a giant company.
Yeah, right.
MacnicaTech.com.
You go there.
MacnicaTech.com. That's great. Andrew, thanks a lot for joining us. We're here at day one at InfoComm 2022 in Vegas. Got a lot more to cover. Keep watching.